Meg Whitman, and by the way, we have extended an invitation to former Governor Jerry Brown to come on this program. All right, do you see this poll about right? Do your internal numbers have this poll? Where do you see it?
Well, the race is tightening very fast. The Rasmussen poll, we were down 3 or 4. Our internal polls show us a dead heat. And I tell you, if we're a dead heat on November 2nd, we win because of the enthusiasm around the country. So I'm excited. We're going to win this. And
it's a tough state. I mean, the Democrats outnumber Republican in terms of registration 13-1, so they've got a pretty big advantage going into this. All right, let's go to the latest ad that you have run. I think is one of the best ads I've seen this election cycle, and this is Jerry Brown in his own words.
After Jerry Brown was no longer governor, he finally came clean.
What did you lie about when you were governor?
Well, it's all a lie.
What did you lie about? What did you lie about?
You run for office and the assumption is, oh, I know what to do. You don't. I didn't have a plan for California. You say you're going to lower taxes, you're going to put people to work, you're going to improve the schools. You're going to stop crime. Crime is up, schools are worse, taxes are higher. I mean, be real. I didn't have a plan for California. It's all a lie.
Wow. I mean, for any politician to say that is unbelievable.
Well, it's very revealing, and it's deeply cynical. And Jerry Brown pulled the wool over California's eyes, before, and he's trying to do it again, and we're not going to let him. I mean, it is just remarkable. He doesn't have a plan. He said basically the whole thing was a lie. I mean, think about that for a minute. It's not fair to Californians, and I think they're going to see through it.
All right, one of the things that came up in the last debate you had was the issue of what is a negative ad? And you were criticized by some for saying that, you were going to tell the truth about Jerry Brown's record. Now, for example, if somebody runs an ad in a congressional race and they say, well, my opponent voted with Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama 99% of the time, and that's accurate, is that by definition a negative ad?
Well, see, in my book, it's not, because Jerry Brown is running on his experience here in California. He was governor for 8 years, and he is running on that experience. So we have to look at that experience, and it was bad for California. Unemployment went up, spending went up. But here's the ultimate jury on his tenure. He was governor for 8 years. He wanted to run for a new office. He wanted to be a U.S. senator. The voters who knew him the best, who had watched him up close and personal for those 8 years, what did they say? They said, no, we think you were a bad governor. We're not going to elect you to another office. So I don't think that's negative campaigning. I think that is, someone's running on their experience. You have to examine it.
All right, one of the other ads you're running in these final days is you going directly to the voters of California. Let's roll that tape.
I know many of you see this election as an unhappy choice between a longtime politician with no plan for the future and a billionaire with no government experience. Well, let me tell you my story. My husband and I came here as newlyweds. We raised our family here, and the California dream came true for me in ways I could never have imagined. Now I'm running for governor to restore the California dream for everyone. I'm not a career politician or a Hollywood star. I'm from Silicon Valley, where I created thousands of jobs at eBay. As governor, I'll do something that's been missing from California politics for far too long. I'll treat you like grown-ups, tell it to you straight, and offer a practical plan forward.
Now, one of the things people have been critical, but I mean, you've been successful throughout your entire business career. Sometimes if you're successful, become wealthy, that's become a pejorative. Shockingly in America, I always thought that was the American dream. And some have been somewhat critical that you spend upwards of $160 million trying to get your message out. You say that's a positive. Why?
Well, I got to give voters a choice in this election. The unions have spent over the last 3 or 4 years $300 million controlling politics in the state of California. So I'm giving voters a choice, getting my message out, putting my money where my mouth is. So, many people have said, good, Meg, this is a great thing to have done. I'm excited about it. Everywhere I go, we've done rallies over the last 48 hours, huge rallies. Every rally, someone comes up to me and says, you know what, I'm an independent, I'm a Democrat, I've never voted for a Republican, and I'm voting for you because we've got to get this state back on track. And I think you're seeing that across the country.
Two issues that came up during the campaign that became big controversies. One is the comment by somebody on Jerry Brown's staff that used the term whore describing you. Are you, A, surprised that didn't become a bigger issue in the campaign? And recently you thought that your former housekeeper, Nikki Diaz, should be deported, even though at the time you didn't report her. You have an update on that?
Oh, well, you know, politics is a rough and tumble business, and Jerry Brown has run a campaign of smears and personal attacks. You know, back in June, in a secret meeting that was caught on tape, he said to the unions in California, you do the dirty work. I want to stay above the fray. Then starting in September, that wasn't working, so he got into the fray and started a politics of smear and all kinds of things. So, you know what? We're going to get there talking about the messages. You know, people are more interested in talking about how they're going to stay in their house than my housekeeper. And I think that's what this election will turn on. Ultimately, people care about their job. Will they have a job? Will their son or daughter have a job? Will they be able to meet their family obligations? And the number one issue here, Sean, as it must be across the country, is the economy and jobs. And how in the world are we going to get out of this recession? Because it seems to be pretty well flatlined here in California.
All right, let me give you a chance. Jerry Brown wouldn't come on the program. What a shock. But he is running a campaign trying to compare you to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I wanted to give you a chance to respond.
Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for different results.
I have built businesses.
I built a business.
Met the payroll.
Met a payroll.
I enter this office beholden to no one except you.
I will owe my office to no one but you.
I don't owe anyone anything.
I don't owe anyone anything.
You need to run the state as a business.
Running this thing a little bit more like a business.
Why did I think after 40 years in public office, he could probably add his comments to that as well, or, you know, you could certainly